Live from Ingalls Court at the Ramsey Center, Cullowhee, North Carolina. We welcome you into our ESPN coverage of NCAA college basketball. As this afternoon, we've got a Big South Southern Conference matchup as the USC Upstate Spartans are on the road visiting the Catamounts of Western Carolina. Hello, everyone. Daniel Hooker alongside Jeff Bryson and our entire ESPN crew. Glad to have you tuned in. And, Jeff, the word transition will probably be thrown around more today than any other time this year. Both of these teams like to get up and down the floor. It's all about getting buckets in transition on offense. It's all about matching up in transition on defense. But not only that, you got two first-year head coaches and all new rosters on either side.
Conference and the Big South Conference play, so that's ahead for these two teams. The Catamounts have won 7 in a row dating back to last season here in the Ramsey Center, and for the visiting USC Upstate Spartans, they've lost 4 in a row, and they're really trying to get it turned around, even though they had a win over Brevard earlier this week.
Talking about our impact players, it starts with the freshman, Mr. Dean, for USC Upstate.
Yeah, Dean's already been the Big South Conference Freshman of the Week twice this season, leading the Spartans in the Big South in scoring at 16 points per game. One of 4 Spartans averaging in double digits, also leading the Spartans with 6 rebounds per game. And Mr. Dean can really light up that scoreboard. Now for the Catamounts, Ice Emery, you're talking about a transfer guard and from Dodge City Community College. Last season, the top scorer for that team. And Daniel, he's been a really positive addition, leading the team at that point guard position.
Yeah, at least 8 points in every game so far for Ice Emery this year. Double digits 4 times. He scored 20 or more twice this year. And, of course, he was part of a Northeast Conference championship up at Merrimack before he transferred into Dodge City Community College a year ago. And now here at Western Carolina running the point for first-year head coach Tim Kraft on one side. On the other side, it's first-year head coach Marty Richter for USC Upstate. So new rosters for both of these teams. Basically only 2 players on the Western Carolina roster that had seen action in the Catamount uniform. Only 3 rosters coming in, or 3 players on the roster that were here last year. A couple of players on USC Upstate's roster coming in. And you look at our keys to today's game, we talked about tempo and transition. Both of these teams like to get up and down the floor. We mentioned it. You got to match up at some point. And the Catamounts, they want to play well behind the arc, and USC Upstate really has to defend that 3-point shot. When the Catamounts get going with 3-pointers here at home, they're really dangerous to stop.
Yeah, USC Upstate, we talked about it in the Open. 4 straight losses to Division I competition. They did get the win over Brevard on their home floor, but they want to get a D1 win and stop this streak. And it's a big contest here in the friendly confines of the Ramsey Center. USC Upstate, Daniel, I don't think that record indicative at 3-8 of the type of team that can, even though they've had a lot of turnover on their roster, they can really line up the scoreboard, especially from the guard position.
Upstate in the road black, trimmed in the green. Western Carolina in the home white, trimmed in purple and gold as we get action underway here from Ingalls Court at the Ramsey Center. So glad to have you tuned in on a busy Saturday in college athletics. Right inside, right to Harris, who lays it up and in. Britt Harris with the first bucket. Harris, the junior out of Gary, Indiana, transfer out of Grand Valley State.
Gregory and Harris, that backcourt very capable of producing a lot of assists. You see the starting 5 for both teams rolling across the bottom of your screen, and some good matchups out on the floor here in the starting 5 for both teams.
Harris with the bucket at one end, the steal at the other in transition. Here's a 3, there it is. Both of our keys to the game now behind the 3-point arc and also transitional buckets. Western Carolina didn't get matched up, and they knocked down a 3. 5-0 start to the ball game for Upstate.
Yeah, this is a team that only lost by 5 to Wake Forest on the road earlier this season. So again, when you see that 3-8 record, don't assume that USC Upstate's going to be a pushover. And here's a big 3 for the Catamounts.
Good looking 3 from the corner by Bernard Pilote. Again, one of only 2 players that had played in a Catamount uniform. The only player that played a year ago that's active on this year's roster. Talk about the transition of the team under first-year head coach Tim Kraft, a veteran head coach who's very familiar with Upstate.